Captain Ibrahim Traore of misusing Burkina Faso's precious gold reserves to protect his so-called junta regime. To add insult to injury, a Level 4 travel advisory has been issued, citing terrorism, crime and kidnapping in a clear attempt to smear the nation's reputation and isolate it globally. But hear this, Burkina Faso stands unbowed. Under Captain Traore's bold leadership, the country is seizing control of its future and no Western propaganda can extinguish its. On April 15, 2025, the Burkinabe Ministry of Foreign Affairs dropped a bombshell press release, rejecting baseless accusations hurled by General Michael Langley, head of the US Africa Command, AFRICOM, during a session with the US Senate Armed Services Committee. Langley had the audacity to claim that Burkina Faso's gold reserves, our gold, the wealth of our land, are being used to protect the junta regime rather than benefiting the Burkinabe people. And as if that wasn't enough, the very next day, the US Embassy in Ouagadougou issued a Level 4 travel advisory, warning American citizens against traveling to Burkina Faso, citing terrorism, crime and kidnapping. Coincidence? I think not. As the great Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, in politics nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. This is a calculated move, my people, and we're about to break it down. Let's set the scene. During a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, Chairman Roger Wicker posed a loaded question to General Langley, asking if there are instances where the elite of a country use national resources to protect themselves while the populace suffers. Wicker called this corruption. Langley, without hesitation, pointed his finger at Captain Ibrahim Traore, accusing him of siphoning Burkina Faso's gold reserves to shield his so-called junta regime. These are fighting words, and they strike at the heart of Burkina Faso's new sovereignist dynamic, a dynamic that has the West trembling in their boots. The Burkinabe Foreign Ministry didn't mince words in its response. In a scathing statement, they condemned Langley's remarks as frivolous, unfounded and eminently political, arguing that his claims deliberately undermine Burkina Faso's bold efforts to reclaim control of its resources and chart its own destiny. The ministry declared, by asserting that Burkina Faso's mineral resources, as well as certain revenues from cooperation with the People's Republic of China, would not benefit the population and would instead serve to protect the current regime, General Langley adopted a stance that deliberately denies Burkina Faso's new sovereignist dynamic. Let's be clear, this isn't just an attack on Captain Traore, it's an attack on the Burkinabe people, on African sovereignty, and on the very idea that we can govern ourselves without Western interference. The ministry went on to say, the ministry wishes to express its strong protest against these erroneous assertions, which serve no other purpose than to harm the image of the Burkinabe government, particularly with regard to the efforts made in the fight against corruption and to defend the interests of the Burkinabe people, two major priorities of the President of Faso, His Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traore. Now, let's talk about Captain Ibrahim Traore, the 37-year-old revolutionary who has become a beacon of hope not just for Burkina Faso, but for the entire continent. Since taking power in 2022, Traore has been relentless in his mission to transform Burkina Faso into a self-reliant, prosperous nation. Unlike the corrupt elites the West loves to prop up, Traore doesn't live like a king. Do you know how much he earns? A measly 500,000 CFA francs per month. The salary of an army captain, not a president. Show me another African leader who has forsaken the lavish perks of the presidency for the humble wages of a soldier. You can't, because there's none. Yet, General Langley has the nerve to accuse this man of corruption. The hypocrisy is staggering. Traore has waived the privileges of the presidency, living modestly while pouring his energy into uplifting his people. The Burkinabe government has made it crystal clear. Since his accession to the highest office, His Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traore has worked resolutely to improve public governance. All revenues from mining are now returned to state coffers and are subject to rigorous and transparent management within the framework of the national budget. This is a leader who walks the talk, and the West can't stand it. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Burkina Faso's gold reserves. General Langley seems awfully concerned about how Burkina Faso is managing its own resources. But let me ask you this. Is Burkina Faso's gold America's property? Is it Langley's personal piggy bank? No, it belongs to the Burkinabe people, and they have every right to use it as they see fit. Even if, and this is a big if, Burkina Faso were using its gold to protect Captain Traore, what's wrong with that? Is it not their sovereign right to prioritise the security of their leader, especially in a region plagued by terrorism and foreign-backed destabilisation? The West's obsession with Burkina Faso's gold isn't new. For decades, European powers and their allies have plundered Africa's resources, leaving our people in poverty while they build empires. But Captain Traore has said, enough is enough. In a bold move last year, he halted gold exports, declaring that Burkina Faso's gold would no longer be sent abroad for processing. Instead, it will be used to back the nation's currency, a revolutionary step toward economic independence. This is the kind of leadership that terrifies the West, because it threatens their stranglehold on our economies. And let's not forget the timing of Langley's accusations. They come just as Burkina Faso is deepening its ties with the People's Republic of China, a partner that respects African sovereignty and doesn't lecture us on how to run our affairs. The Burkinabe Foreign Ministry called out Langley's attempt to smear this cooperation, stating that his remarks serve no other purpose than to harm the image of the Burkinabe government. The West can't stand the fact that Africa is forging new alliances and breaking free from their neo-colonial chains. Now let's talk about that Level 4 travel advisory. The US Embassy claims it's about terrorism, crime and kidnapping, but the timing is too convenient. Issued just one day after Burkina Faso's foreign ministry called out Langley's lies, this advisory smells like a retaliatory move. It's a classic imperialist tactic. Smear a nation's reputation, scare off investors and tourists, and isolate it on the global stage. But Burkina Faso isn't some banana republic that will bow to pressure. Under Traore's leadership, the country is fighting back against terrorism, strengthening its military, and building a future for its people. The US wants us to believe that Burkina Faso is a dangerous, unstable place. But let me ask you, who's fueling the instability in the Sahel? Who's been arming proxy groups and sowing chaos to keep Africa dependent on Western aid and security? The fingerprints of Western intelligence agencies are all over the region's conflicts, and now they have the gall to point fingers at Traore for protecting his nation. The hypocrisy is enough to make your blood boil. Make no mistake, Captain Ibrahim Traore is a modern-day revolutionary in the mould of Thomas Sankara and Muammar Gaddafi, leaders who dared to dream of a free and prosperous Africa. And like Sankara and Gaddafi, Traore is a target because he refuses to play by the West's rules. The US and its allies want him gone, just as they wanted Sankara gone when they orchestrated his assassination in 1987. That's why they're so fixated on his security arrangements. They don't want a protected leader. They want a vulnerable one who can be easily eliminated. But here's what General Langley and his puppet masters don't understand. The people of Burkina Faso love their captain. From Ouagadougou to Accra, Traore is a continental icon. When he visited Ghana recently, the streets erupted in cheers with crowds chanting his name while other leaders were met with silence. This is a man who inspires hope, not just in Burkina Faso but across Africa. His commitment to his people is unshakable, and no amount of Western propaganda can change that. Let's talk about what Captain Traore is actually doing, because the Western media won't tell you this. Since taking power, he has launched sweeping reforms to transform Burkina Faso into a beacon of self-reliance. In agriculture, he's invested in irrigation systems and local seed production, reducing dependence on imported food. In infrastructure, new roads and bridges are connecting rural communities to markets. In education, schools are being built, and scholarships are ensuring that every child has a chance to learn. In health, clinics are popping up in underserved areas, and maternal care is improving. And let's not forget the mining sector. Traore has nationalised 2 major gold mines, ensuring that Burkina Faso's wealth stays in Burkina Faso. He's cracked down on corruption, with mining revenues now flowing directly into the national budget for transparent management. These aren't just promises, They're tangible results that the Burkinabe people can see and feel. While the West accuses him of corruption, Traore is building a nation where the people